Okay, it looks like we're live, so let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. Good to see you here on this wonderful Wednesday morning. So today we're going to be working on chord progressions with a focus on also doing some minor chord progressions and looking at chord progressions that include seventh chords. So we'll get started and I'll pop the work on the screen now. So here we go. So this is page 156, if you are not sure. And you can see here that we've got a chord chart. And this chord chart looks a little different to the ones we've done before because there's a couple of ones, there's a couple of fours, there's a couple of fives. The reason that's there is because we're slowly but surely adding the sevenths available in each key. Now actually all of these chords eventually will get sevenths. But we're just going to add the sevenths for chord 1, chord 4 and chord 5 at this stage. So here's chord 1. We know it's a major triad because it has an uppercase Roman numeral 1, and we also know that's a C major triad. We've heard that many times before. There it is. If we add a 7th, like we have here, you can see that chord 1 is a what sort of 7th? Let's have a look at it. It's all in C major, 1, 3, 5, 7. We know that's a major 7. Now, one thing Deborah Smith does here in the textbook, which isn't quite in alignment with what the study design suggests, is for major 7s, whilst it's implied that if you build a 7th on chord 1, it will be a major 7, in the exam, to be absolutely safe, we actually add a little bit of information, and that is we add a little triangle, which is the symbol for major, and then put the 7. Now, I know that's not the world's best triangle, but when we answer questions in the future, we will do that. For example, if we were naming that chord, we would name it C major 7, or you could actually just write the full word. But if you were to just write C7 like that, that would be wrong because that means dominant 7. If you just have a 7 when you're putting it next to a letter, it means dominant 7. So I'm going to be more specific, and even when we work with Roman numerals today, I'm going to put the little triangle in to be absolutely certain we know we're talking about major 7. So you've probably worked out by now that if you put a 7th on chord 1, it's a major 7. Let's have a look at the next one. So there's chord 4, and we know from looking at triads now that that's an F major triad because there's no sharps or flats. F major needs only B flat if it's present, it's not so. And if we add the 7th, we know it's a major 7 as well. So again, I'd like us to name it with its full symbol. And I'm really having trouble with this pen getting a decent triangle going today. That's better. Or we could call it F triangle 7. Triangle is just a synonym for major. You can use it instead of major. Or, of course, we could just call this F major 7. And that's just as easy to use as well. One more 7th that we're going to look at today is chord 5. And we've probably already worked out in our minds, chord 5 is a bit different. It's not a major 7. You can probably take a guess by thinking, what is the 5th chord or the 5th note? We call that, what, tonic, supertonic, median, subdominant. Number 5 is dominant. Hence why it's got that name, the dominant 7. So chord 5 means dominant. In this case, you're welcome to put the 7 right next door to 5 without any other symbol. That is what means dominant 7, and this is a dominant 7. If you're wondering how that works, well, this chord is based on a G. The root note is a G. G major would need what? You guessed it, it would need an F sharp. Now, 1, 3, 5, 7 on its own is major 7. If we had the F sharp from G major, the bottom note, because we're lowering it, that's why we have the flat 7. That's why we say it's a dominant 7, because it is the equivalent of having a flat 7. Getting rid of that. And so that is our dominant 7. So Dom 7, G Dom 7. Cool. So we're going to do one question now based around this because I do want to get onto a minor progression today. So let me just look ahead. So we'll do one major progression to learn about what we've done, and then we'll have a quick look at this minor one here. So we're going to quickly run across to question 2. So this one right here. So if you don't have your textbook here today, you can just set this grid up now quickly. Either do it up in Word, set up a table with how many columns, 5 columns and 2 rows, and you can have your answer done there. There is room to answer the cadence for this question. That helps us to remember all of our chord progressions end with cadences. Perfect, 5-1. Plagal, 4-1. Interrupted, 5-6. And imperfect, anything to 5. Just noticing the messaging. Thank you for all your joyful hellos, and good to see you here, Talia. Welcome. So we're going to have a go at this question. So I'll give you just a second while I update the roll for you to set up a grid if you need to, if you've got your workbook there. Please tell me we haven't done these questions before. I thought we were far enough ahead in the textbook that I'm now into new territory. Yeah? Cool. Anyone else? Just want to check. This is page 156. 157 actually now. 157. Just want to double check. Anyone else who wasn't in the Zoom meeting popped in now? Want to say hello quickly on the chat window, and then I can mark you present on the roll. Okay, I think we've had enough time to set that up. So we're going to have a look at this question. So what are the strategies that I recommend? First things first, I strongly recommend you write out the scale of the key we're in. So what key are we in? The first chord gives that away. It's C. Now, I don't have much room here to scribble this in, do I? I should have probably done this. What I'll do is I'll do this here. So let's write the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And a reminder, what are the Roman numerals? Major, minor. Probably should have done the Roman numerals first. Minor, major, major, minor. And what's chord 7? Diminished. Excellent. So, just a reminder, we've added a few sevenths in today. We can have a major 7 on chord 1. We can have a major 7 in chord 4. And we can have a dominant 7 in chord 5. It doesn't mean that every time I play chord 1, that it'll be a major 7. It just means it could be. So you now will need to listen with your ears and decide, for example, is it a major triad or a major 7? Similar with chord 4, is it a major triad or a major 7? And similarly, chord 5, is it a major triad or a dominant 7? So that's the most important thing you need to have worked out before you do one of these questions. Then, there are 2 approaches to this question, or 3 really. Firstly is, and you don't have to do these in any particular order, you can take your choice. You need to listen to the bass note. Because this gives you your, which Roman numeral it is, because which letter it is, because the bass note will always be the root note of the chord. But the other thing you can do to help yourself out is listen to the quality. Because if you hear a major chord in any one of these, it can only be C major, F major, or G major. If you hear a minor chord, it can only be D minor, E minor, A minor. If you hear a diminished, it can only be B minor. So, step 2, listening to the quality, and these are not in any particular order. You do them in the order you find works best for you. That can help. And of course, the last 2 chords will be a cadence. So if you listen for the cadence, you've got 2 of the chords already. But something you need to definitely listen for is there a 7th? Because they will be present now. So I'll take you through that as we go. Any questions so far? Pop them in the live chat while I just get the recording of the first chord progression ready, and I'll watch for them now. If not, I'm going to start getting this question ready to play to you. Yep, there we go. So, I'm just going to pull this out here for a minute. Okay, so I'm hoping you're ready now to do your question. You've written out what we need to write out in terms of the this chord type, yeah, the Roman numerals, the chart for that, and so on. You've got your thoughts about what you're going to do first. Listen out for the cadence. Let's have a go at this question. I'll play it to you a few times. Let me know if the volume's not loud enough. I think it should be fine. Here we go with the first playing. Cool. All good with the volume there? I'll give you a few seconds to think through what you heard, and if someone could tap into the chat window whether that was all coming through clearly, that'd be great for me to know. Okay, immediately you've probably got the idea, oh, I heard some funny sounding chords there that didn't sound like pure triads. There's probably a good chance that they're sevenths, so we'll listen to that again. Something I'd like you to focus on now is the last chord. Is it the same or different to the opening chord? If it's the same chord, then obviously it's C major, chord 1. Or is it the same root note? Remember, the first chord starts with a 7th. The last one might not have a 7th. If it ends on the same root note, the same tonic note, sounds like it's returning home, then it's obviously chord 1 and could potentially be a perfect or a plagal cadence. If it doesn't land on the chord we heard first, then it could be, thanks for the feedback, thanks guys, it could be then imperfect or interrupted. So let's have a listen. And I'm keen on you, as soon as you hear whether you think that last chord is the same or different, can you put your answer in and tell me through the chat window, is that last chord the same or similar? If it was a 7th in the first example but then not a 7th in chord 4, I'll still call it the same root note. If it's different, please tell me if it's different. So as soon as you hear it, tap the answer into the chat window and I'll wait and pause a few seconds. Cool. First person to get the correct answer in the chat window will win a digital success pass. I was looking for a pencil so I can write down the people I need to give success passes to today. So, yeah, waiting. Anyone? I know there's a bit of a delay between when you hear me speak and when I say it, so I'm having to wait a little while to see your messages in the response. But certainly whilst we're waiting for that answer, to give you some thoughts about what we need to do next, you will have then decided, hopefully from this answer, whether it's a finishing cadence ending on 1 or a unfinished cadence finishing on 5 or 6. And so then you'll want to then follow on and then try and work out what we're hearing in the last 3. Still waiting for an answer? There must be a real delay in the stream between me recording and saying what I'm saying and you hearing. Anyone got any thoughts? Is the last chord the same or different to the first chord? Anyone? I'm going to have to give the answer away in a minute so I can keep on going. Would you like some thinking music? No one's come with an answer. The chord... Oh, good work, Luke. You just got in before I was going to give the answer. So yes, it in fact was the same. So we did have the same chord, well, at least the same root note. So let's add that in now. I'm just going to load my iPad up again. It's just gone to sleep. That's better. Okay, and here we go. So where were we? It was the same, so it was definitely C. Definitely some sort of major. We'll listen back to see if it's... Good work. And the entertainer, thank you for naming the song. You know what, Lydia, I'll give you a success pass for that too, because I love the feedback I'm getting in the window. So, what we'll do now is we'll listen to this again. Let's have a listen and see what the cadence is. Is it perfect or plagal? And take it from there. So the root note, I'm going to just give you the answer right now because we don't have time to wait every time. Da, da, something lower, coming up to C, ba, ba. So the options will be 5 up to 1 or 4 up to 1. So what is the interval? Da, ba, The last note was C. Count back down. C, B, A, G, F. Da, ba, da, ba. I counted down that it was going F up to C. So therefore we already know that it must be plagal. Now, oops, that was a terrible handwriting. I'm going to redo that. Terrible. Let's try again. Great. Let's have a listen now. Before we try and even work out chord 2, let's listen now to see were there any sevenths there, and was there a seventh on this last one. I'll play it again. Here it is. That last one sounds very pure and clear, but what about that previous one, the second last chord? Was it this? Or did you all hear that kind of clashing of the major seventh in there? It was definitely a major seventh there. Cool, so you can just write major 7, or if you'd prefer you can write triangle 7. Most people will probably just write major 7. Okay, last chord we need to listen for is this one. So let's have a listen again. Now I heard da, da, and then down a step to da. So if da, 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 going down a step to F, that means this note must be what? C, B, A, G. So it's a real interval question, this too. If you can pick the bass notes, it's just the intervals. We know that G can either be major or, if it's got a seventh, a dominant seventh. So our final question we need to ask ourselves is it a dominant 7 or a 7? Now these can be particularly tricky to hear, especially I find the dominant 7 particularly hard to hear. Let's see if it's got one or not. So was it or really hard to pick, but I heard, and I know from the fact that I've got the answer book in front of me, that it was a Dom 7. Okay, cool. What we're going to do today is we're going to now go straight to learning about the minor chords and which ones occur with sevenths, and we'll practice that question. And then the remaining 2 questions on the page I will play to you without any support, so you can have a go on your own, and then I can check your answers when you submit them later on. Welcome to all, good to see you here. Anyone else arrived that I've missed on the roll? Sam? Hannah, are you guys there? No? Hopefully I see some of you pop in soon. So let's have a go at looking at minor chord progressions. We have done this before, but it's been a little while since we've looked at the construction of minor chords. So let's have a look at this example here. So we're working in A minor, A harmonic minor to be particular. So it's that scale degree 7 that has the sharp, the raised 7. Because we talk about harmonic minor as either being a natural minor with a raised 7th, or you can say it's a major scale with flat 3 and 6. And either way it works, because what were 3 and 6 in A major? They were the C and the F sharp. So in other words, G sharp's left. Either way, you get the same answer. So if we have a look at this, we're not going to work. We actually won't get a 7th on chord 1 in our exams, because it ends up being a G sharp in this key, and that's not an examinable chord. Without the G sharp, it's a minor 7th. We don't examine a minor triad with a raised 7th in this subject. So as we've mentioned before, in a minor key, chord 1 is minor. Chord 2 is diminished. Now we will add a 7th later on. We're not going to add it now. It's actually half diminished once we add it later in our course. This is an interesting one because of the G sharp. Most of you will recognise that it's C, E, G sharp. That would be an augmented triad. So this is the only augmented triad we'll hear in these chord progressions. It's chord 3, and augmented stands out a fair bit. So if you hear that really harsh sounding augmented chord, then you know it's chord 3. Chord 4 is minor now. Chord 5 remains major. Chord 5 is always major, regardless of whether we're in a minor or a major key. Chord 5 today will be getting its dominant 7th. It's the only 7th we're going to add today in a minor key. We'll add them all again later. On this occasion, now in a minor key, chord 6 is major, and it does have a major 7 out of interest. Actually, no, we do have it here. I didn't even look ahead. I didn't read ahead. Yes, we've got a major 7 here. Worth noting, as I mentioned before, that we should highlight that it's major 7 or triangle 7. And last but not least, chord 7 is diminished. Like last time, in a major key, chord 7 is diminished. It was also diminished in a minor key. So we'll need to get familiar with that Roman numeral pattern, just like we have in the major. Most of us can all rattle off now. In a major key, it's major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Well, for a minor key, we're now going to have to get used to that pattern now of minor, diminished, augmented, minor, major, major, diminished. A little bit more complicated, but I don't think it's too bad. Chord 5 is always major. Chord 1 is always the tonality of the key. Chord 7 is always diminished. There's 3 that are easy to remember. The only other thing I then keep in mind is that there's always a pair of majors. In a major key, it's 4 and 5. In a minor key, it's 5 and 6. And the other 2 you just need to remember. Cool. I'm going to guide you through this next one anyhow, so let's do a minor example. Oops. I'll roll up to this first one here. So, we're going to do a question in C minor. Just a reminder, in the exam, you could have potentially had up to 6 chords to identify in a chord progression at the end of the year. Due to the remote learning stuff that's been going on and the reduction in classroom time, as a result, one of the questions that they've changed in the exam is this one. It'll be a maximum 4 chords. So we're not far off actually doing that right now, which is good. These last 2 have been 3. Later on in this lesson, we'll do one with 4 chords. In fact, we'll do 2 with 4 additional chords that you need to dictate. 4 chords plus whatever's given. Okay, so let's have a look here. Step 1, we need to know what the Roman numerals are. So what were they? They were just on the previous page, but I always recommend that it's a great idea to write them out. So minor, diminished, augmented, minor, major, major, and diminished. That was not a very good circle at the end. If there are sevenths, for today only, it'll be dominant 7 and major 7. We'll add sevenths to the others as we go along. The other thing we do need to keep in mind is what are the notes of C harmonic minor. So let's pop the scale on here. C, D, E, F. I know it's a bit hard to see over the text that I'm writing over. Too bad. G, A, and B. And remind me to make that already is a major scale, C major. How do we make a major into a harmonic minor? We flatten the 3 and 6. I know it's a bit messy over that text. We'll just have to live with it. So the rest stays the same. There could be a cadence 5-1 or 4-1, perfect plagal. There could be interrupted 5-6, which out of interest will be major to major now. Or it could be imperfect, which is anything to 5. Okay, so we're going to have a go at this question. So I'll get my sound file ready. If you need to write this down, please use this time now. As mentioned earlier, if you've just arrived, if you don't have a textbook, you can easily just do up a quick grid in Word, or just even handwrite a grid that you can submit to me later as your learning evidence for today's learning task. So, where are we? I'm just finding the sound file. And here it is. Okay, so we're starting in a minor key, C minor. Let's have a listen to it, and I would strongly suggest following a similar approach to last time, and that is try and work out on the first playing, does it end on the same chord or a different chord, because that can reduce the cadence options by half. Here we go. Similar to last time, I will take the first answer that is given, is it same or different, and award a success pass for you. I don't know if you're aware, we're awarding success passes digitally on Compass. You might not even see them, but trust me, they're going into the draw for the prizes like normal. So here we go. While I'm waiting, I'll play it again, but first person to have same or different written into the chat window for the answer is chord 4, the same or different to 1, will get a success pass. I'll give you a few seconds to think about that. I know there's a delay between the stream and when you actually get to see it on your screens. So I'll be patient and wait just on this occasion to see if we can get a response. Entertainment music there for you. Waiting for the answer. Anyone? You'll get a good idea about what the stream delay is by the time I go yes, correct, and when you've seen it typed into the chat window. Anyone? I know the delay isn't that long. I can see in this now that I am playing a tune on the piano, even in what's coming through live to you now. So we should have an answer. Come on, guys. Was the first and the last chord the same or different? Same or different? Same or different? Come on, come on. I'm about to give the answer away. Someone quickly type it in. Almost about to give up. Surely someone knows. I can actually set my streaming settings so that there's less latency, but it does reduce the quality of the video. So, but I didn't think the delay was that long. Well, I'm going to have to give it away in a minute. Okay, I'm going to have to say it was the same. We had the same root note at the end here. Oh, I'll tell you, just got an answer in. Maybe there is a really big delay today with the internet, or when you're seeing the video when I'm saying it, but it actually was the same. It was C, so we had C minor at the end. Okay, on this occasion, let's now, but thank you so much for putting in an answer. I really appreciate your efforts. Let's have another listen. Let's see if we can work out the cadence now. Something that can help us work out the cadence is, do we hear major or minor in the second last chord? Because if it's major to minor, it will be, if it's major to minor, we know it would be 5-1. If it was minor to minor, it would be 4-1. Let's have a listen. I just realised I didn't write a G over there, but I have now. Was it major or minor? It was actually a bit of a tricky one because it kind of sounded a bit in between. It's actually, there was a dominant 7 there, which meant that it sort of muddied the waters about what we're hearing. Let's just check interval-wise. Da, ba. It's one of those ones where the chord is going up. Let me just play that again, sorry. What's going on here? I know what I've done wrong, and I'm telling you rubbish. Have I gone to the wrong page in my textbook? Or has the textbook... Sorry, I've realised I might have made an error in telling you stories. What page are we on? Page 156. Ha! My textbook's got a different answer to what's in the book. It's kind of close. But you've been told C major, and it's C minor. It's actually in G minor, so I'm going to need to transpose the response. So Deborah Smith's great, but occasionally there's errors in the textbook. So let me just. We were right. I'm just going to have to work this answer out in the key. So what was it? Let's listen again. The question is most certainly in C minor, despite my teacher's edition saying it's in G minor. So. Da, 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 da. What's that interval? Australians. But given that we're working backwards, we've got to count down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And as we suspected, it was chord 5 or G. And I already gave it away before. It was actually a 7th. So Cool. We've just got to work out one last part of the answer. Let's listen and see if we can work out what's happening in chord 2. Da, da. This is an example where I'd say let's listen for the tonality. Da, da. And it was definitely a minor chord. So that gives us a lot less options because the only minor chord other than chord 1 is chord 4. You probably heard it also. Da, ba, C, D, E flat, F. And so therefore, we've got the answer. In the correct key, unlike the textbook. I'm not telling you lies. I can show you that in the textbook, it actually had the answer as you can see there in G minor, but of course your book says C minor, and that's actually how it was played. Okay, so there is an example of a minor chord progression that we've done, even if we've had a few slight errors with the delivery of that today. So what we are going to do is we're going to do these last 2 questions today, and that'll be it, and then we can jump back into Zoom if you want some help. Have we got these in the in exam conditions? I'll play 5 playings with silence in between each, and then if you want to get the answers, you need to tell me the answer, which you can tell me back in Zoom, or you can upload it and then I can give you feedback. So let's work through these 2. Let's set it up first. We'll set up these 2. Get ready. Double checking. Yeah, they are correct in the textbook too. So this first question is G minor. So remind me, what are the Roman numerals for G minor? Lowercase 1. 2 is diminished. 3 is minor. 4, sorry, I tell you rubbish. 3 is augmented. I hope I didn't make that mistake earlier. It is earlier. No, I did do it correctly before. Sorry. I'm going to make that neater. It is. I'll blame it on being in the morning and I'm not quite awake yet. But it's actually just a rubbish excuse. I just made a mistake. And then 5 is major, 6 is major, 7 is diminished. We can have a dominant 7 and a major 7 there. Okay, what are the notes in a G minor scale? Well, as always, we usually work out the major scale first. So what's G major? G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. How do we make it harmonic minor? We flatten the 3 and the 6. Cool. Give you a few moments to write that down, because then I'm just going to play these questions one after the other, and then I'm looking forward to seeing how you go when you actually submit this work. As I mentioned earlier, you can just do this on paper or in Word by creating a grid if you don't have your textbook with you. We did get paper copies mailed out, but apparently they haven't arrived yet. So hopefully they get to you soon. We'll be back at school shortly anyway. Week and a half really. Cool. Okay, and the other question that we'll work through in a moment today that I'll play to you will be this one. We're in B flat major. So it means we're in a major key. So we're just going to quickly write the Roman numerals down for a major key. Well, 1 is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, 7 is diminished. Okay, just need to write the notes of the scale underneath so we know what they are, or above, doesn't matter where you do it, wherever you got room. B, C, D, E, F, G, A. What's the key signature of B flat major? We go through the order of flats from right through to left, go to the name of the key and add 1, so B flat. Oh, we're already at the name of the key, add 1 more, E flat. B flat and E flat is the key signature of B flat major. Give you a few more moments to scribble that down. And then I'm going to play each of these questions to you 5 times before we finish up today, so you can have a go at doing this question in more of an exam-like situation where the questions are just played one after the other with a slight gap of silence and of course no hints or answers given during the middle of it. Cool. Okay, so we are going to do question 3 first, the G minor question. So let me get it ready. Yep, there we go, it's working. So we're in a minor key. I'm going to play this to you 5 times with some silence in between, and then I'll get you to try and work out your answer. Then we'll move on to the next question 5 times You can work out your answer, and then we'll end the stream, and you can jump back into Zoom if you'd like to know what the answer is, or you can upload it to me in a today's learning task if you need to. Okay, so here is question 3, the question in G minor, first playing. I'll play it to you again. Here's your third playing. Here is your fourth playing. Here is another playing. I'll play it to you one more time and then try and finish off your answer. Here we go. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to finish down writing down your thoughts on that. And then I'm going to play this last question to you. I can see that we're going a little later than normal. That's alright, doesn't matter. It's good practice to get these questions done. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question just so we don't run out of time before your next class. So the final question we're doing is in B flat major. Again, I'll play this to you 5 times. Yep, so it all works. Okay, so again, like last time, here is your first of 5 playings. Okay, I'll play that to you again. Here we go. Just realised that you lost your view of the iPad. My apologies. Let's fix that up. Oh. Internet's playing up. I can't give you the textbook at the moment. Doesn't matter. Here we go. I'll play you this question a third time. I won't stuff around trying to fix it because I've only got a few minutes left in class. There it is. I managed to find it for you. This just isn't the one that had the notes on it on my iPad. My apologies, guys. Cool. Sam just arrived, by the way, which is great. Okay, I'm going to play it to you a fourth time. That's better. Sorry, I realise you're not seeing it yet. Here we go. And one more playing. There we go. Cool. Well, what I'm going to do is I'll end the live stream now. We've got a couple of minutes before we need to move on to period 2. So I'll see you back in Zoom.